Hi, readers. I'm Jordan,
And I'm Katie.
and welcome to Not Another Heroine, the podcast where we break down the best and worst fictional heroines, those swashbuckling ladies who have to work a little harder than expected for their happy ending.
This week, we're finishing up The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, otherwise known as Yada Yada Shit Happens. Stay tuned for book 2.
Just an announcement. We both finished reading this book today. And reading is a loose term.
Scanning.
We skimmed
Yes.
the second half of this book very hard.
I looked for keywords, and I don't even think that was effective. But here we are.
It's saying how much we wanted to get through this book that instead of doing 2 additional episodes to get through the second half, we just condensed it into one.
You're going to get 1 episode, so buckle up, sweetheart.
We hope you're with us. That aside, our next book, stay tuned for, is The Elf Tangent
by Lindsay Buroker.
I'm excited about that one.
One of my faves. Actually, don't blame me if this one isn't good, but her other ones are very good. Well, very good. I'd say very good.
I have not read anything by this author, so I'm excited to give it a shot.
She's full send indie. On Amazon, all of her books are either 99 cents or like $4.99. And like normally you're kind of, I don't know how I feel about this. Like that's not a lot of money for a book that someone wrote and it's probably going to be bad. But hers are pretty good for what you're paying for. Like you get a lot of satisfaction.
So it's not like an off-brand Oreo from Walmart?
No. They're like the weird ones that are like the off-brand is better than the original. And you're like, oh God, what are those? It's the Frosted Mini Wheat off-brand is like way better than the regular one.
It is something about the Frosted Mini Wheats.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
They're delicious. The off-brand ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's our little hitch for whatever those ones are called.
We cycled into cereal discussion.
That just tells you how much we didn't enjoy this book.
We really didn't. We wanted to like it very
It had
much.
good bones, but the meat was lacking. I do not feel satiated.
That is going to be a quote for this episode. Maybe we should retitle it, The Meat is Lacking.
The meat is that. I do like that.
Okay. We're rolling with that one. And
People listening to this in their car are like, but that's what the episode is called. It's like, you just saw that happen in real time.
It's not what we started with. We might need to re-record the intro then.
The meat is lacking.
Oh dear. There are so many other connotations for that.
I feel like they're all legitimate. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
We'll go with that. Okay.
Yep.
Starting right off, Mazinar. I hesitate to call him a hero because he's so annoying.
You know what? I have a soft spot for male characters who are not the stereotypical, super strong, overpowered, will protect everything. But I need some kind of redeeming factor, man.
There is no redeeming qualities. I know I've read some reviews, and there are people who really like Mazin, and I don't know who. I can't.
Nope. Don't know her. Who is that? Yep. And I feel like in the Q&A episode, we'll kind of like dig in more to why, because we talked about this earlier. I hate criticism that's very like nebulous and you don't give like specific things that someone can improve on. But we'll get into the specific things that can be improved on.
We're going to try and stay focused on just the plot.
Yes.
We might have some snarky comments on the plot as we go through this, but we will try and stay focused. So returning to our actual synopsis here.
Yes.
Mazin forgot the circlet and he's...
LOL.
Very typical Mazin. Nope, that fits. He returns to Ahmed's residence.
Oh my God.
But finds that, surprise, it's now Ahmed's turn to be possessed by the Queen of the Dunes.
Akko.
Yep. Fighting happens, typically.
Yeah.
All 3 of our protagonists are involved in the fighting, but after Ahmed/Badass Jinn Queen kills several of these hunters who had gathered at Ahmed's place for a party, I think is what was going on here.
Yeah, he's having like a meeting with all of the like Jinn hunter, like local Jinn hunters, I think. And they're talking about, they're like bragging, basically.
Yeah.
It's like some weird, I was about to use a very not good word for what this probably is. Jerk circle.
I think that's not quite. Oh
I think that's what this was, though.
It's called a circle jerk.
I learned something today.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we have to stay focused. We can do this. Highlight right there. Oh man. Okay.
Anyway, that's what's happening at this party.
There's a circle jerk happening at this party between the hunters and Ahmed, except Ahmed is now an evil Jinn Queen.
Yes.
And she's like, nah, I'm going to kill you all. And she does.
Yep.
Until Mazen and Party show up and Aisha manages to, well, we think it's Aisha.
I think.
Neither one of us could remember, and we didn't care enough to really go back and check.
Nope.
Someone pries off the necklace from Ahmed, and then he's immediately remorseful because he killed a bunch of his friends. This is a shitty part of the story. Like,
yeah.
I feel like she could have fleshed that whole scenario out. Like, there was an opportunity for Ahmed to have more character.
Yes, because so there's a scene immediately following the fight where Luli wakes up in the castle, because I think we're going to talk about it later, but her and Kadir are in some kind of like fight. And they have this like whole chat about how like Ahmed is like fucked up after killing people who are basically his friends. But the whole time you're reading this, like you don't even feel that bad for him. You're like, okay, like he killed a bunch of his friends. Like he's
such a one-sided character. Like Ahmed exists as a character for Luli.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't operate independently. Like it's like, oh, okay, he's done.
He could have been very interesting.
Yeah. Especially if he like showed his actual face to Luli instead of, because I still got that very artificial vibe from him, even when he was talking to Luli, that Mazen keeps like talking about throughout this bit. But it could be his like time to like take the fake smile off and like talk to her about like the woes of being a Wali and like having to be this like aggressive, angry person all the time and, you know, fight bad guys, but he just wants to be like, you know, a regular person. Like that would be an interesting character dynamic that she's just like, nope, he's remorseful, he killed his friends.
It felt
and
like
that's it.
the author was trying to make him a viable romantic interest for Luli. Like that was the design of this character, and it just didn't ever come across.
Without any of the legwork. Like
No.
you can't just tell me that, you know, they have feelings for each other. Like, you got to show me why.
Like put some heart into it, just a little bit.
See, it needs some meat. It needs not like lid, like, you know what I mean? Like not metaphorically.
It needs some meat.
But it needs some meat. Like I can't just be told that they like each other and then just like go with that and be like, okay, like you got to prove it. Like,
No,
why do they like each other?
Entirely. Okay.
But yeah, tangent over.
This is what's going to happen throughout this episode is it's going to devolve into a Q&A session where we just hate on certain aspects. We'll try not to do that. It's already happened once.
It will happen again.
It'll happen again. Okay.
Also, if you heard that clinking, it was my drink. So
we're trying a new drink today, actually. So
yes, we are.
It's a strawberry lemongrass vodka with some juice in it because we're not very creative.
Well, you added some like crazy shit to it. Limoncello?
Yeah, there's some limoncello in there, some lemon juice in mine. Some sort of orange juice.
It kind of tastes like a Jolly Rancher, but like an orange lemon Jolly Rancher. If you could imagine that flavor.
Less sweet.
A little bit, yeah. But it has that like sparkly feeling that Jolly Ranchers do.
We'll be feeling sparkly in about an hour.
Yeah, as this episode devolves, you'll understand why. We needed context.
Well, we also needed the liquor to get through this episode.
That is true. Yep. Yeah, Mazen, Ahmed, sad. Mazen.
I just don't even want to. I don't even want to read this. Maybe we should.
We'll hit the high points.
Luli ends up taking possession of the circlet, courtesy of Mazen. He tosses it to her, which pisses Aisha off.
Yeah. Well, reasonable.
Yeah.
The possession, potentially dangerous. You're just going to give it to a non-agent of the state. Like, I understand Aisha in this moment, and I am on her side, even though she's not the protagonist.
Luli's so boring.
Yep.
That I wasn't even worried. I'm like, what's she going to do with it? Oh, wait, she's probably going to go crying to Kadir. Like, that's what's going to happen.
And he's going to protect her somehow, and we don't have to worry about it.
And then after this whole fighting happens, she has this sit down, woe is me. I love Ahmed, but I can't love him because he's a hunter and he did all these bad things and it's never going to happen. Like, it was completely useless. And we'll refrain.
Because she had that same exact woe is me, like, 4 or 5 chapters earlier and nothing changed.
Nope.
Like,
It's the same problem recycled.
yep. It's like, okay, girl, like we just talked about this. Like, you don't know if you love him or not.
We don't care also.
Yep,
So,
nope.
just decide and move on.
Yep.
We also learn somewhere around this point in the story that Mazin can manipulate his shadow.
We're going to immediately tangent again. Because I thought that this was such a fucking cool, like, potential. Like, this could be some kind of fun offshoot. You could take this in multiple directions. So it could either be like side effect of Mazin's whole like possession from the Shadow Queen. It could be Omar's ability, and somehow when he fed, Omar fed a little bit of his blood into the bangle, like, Mazin all of a sudden realizes that like Omar is like all kinds of fucking weird and has all these special abilities. Like, you could have done so much stuff, but Mazin just like accepts it. He's like, okay. Like,
I'm a special prince. I can do special things.
Yeah, it's like homeboy did not even question.
Like, all of a sudden I can peel my shadow off a wall and put it on myself like a coat.
Yeah, like you're not even gonna like.
What a cool idea though! Like this as the like talking to the author. That's brilliant.
Yeah. It felt all kinds of like Harry Potter when he gets the invisibility cloak. But even that, they had like a moment between him and Ron where they're like, what the fuck? Like, they kind of like excited, but Mazin was just like, huh.
And that's the theme throughout this book, is that there's a lot of really cool points and ideas like this that are just, they're not given any kind of depth or weight when they appear. So you kind of skim over them. We missed a lot in our skimming session.
Undoubtedly.
It's just there. Like, there's no attention directed to it.
Anyway, tangent over. Sorry, folks. Redirecting.
That's fine.
Again.
This is going to be this kind of episode. They reconvene their desert adventure. So the entire party sets off. That's Aisha. Mazin, Luli, and Kadir.
Still trying to get to the Sansi Lost Djinn city or whatever.
Somewhere around here, Mazin takes off his bangle, and leaves it off.
The bangles.
And everyone is finally clued into who he really is.
And even this was not like...
This should have been a huge fucking revelation from Luli.
Yeah, and Lily's just like, oh, now it's Mazin. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's like, girl, what?
It's around this part of the journey too, or maybe a little later, that a couple of like really interesting tidbits gets passed around like as they're traveling.
Yeah.
And this, to be fair, this might not have been actually where it happens in the story.
Oh, yeah.
This is just, this was something that we thought you guys should know.
Yeah, it's like a culmination phase. Like, here's some tidbits.
We took a guess.
Yeah.
So Luli realizes that relics are not enchanted objects. They are objects that are infused with the soul of a dead djinn.
Yeah.
That was dark.
Yeah.
She tests this theory by threatening Kadir with the compass.
And even so, if I'm remembering this right, they're sitting on top of a roof at night and they're having this like heart to heart, but you just kind of like, okay, like they're having another conversation. And she doesn't she hang it off the side of the roof?
Yeah.
It's like, this could be a super emotional point. Like, once we learn what the compass actually is, like this could be like a devastating point. And she didn't have any kind of like significant reaction from Kadir.
She's supposed to be completely emotionally bonded to Kadir as this, I don't know, guardian brother figure, and she just pulls this shit on him?
No, yeah, but not even in you get to hear her thoughts and like why she's being such a bitch. Like, she just like kind of hangs it over the edge and she's like, oh, so like it doesn't matter if I smash this compass. And like Kadir kind of has like some kind of like, oh, please don't. And then that's it. It's like, can I have some kind of fucking like emotional reaction? Like,
there's no internal reflection from any of the characters.
Yeah, even though it's written from the character's point of view. So it should have, what is that called? It's like omnipotent?
Omniscient?
Yeah, where you get I think that would make this a lot stronger. Because the whole time I'm like, I feel like I'm watching something without context.
It's like a scripted TV show.
Yeah, but without the like good actors that make it like emotionally bonding and all their like ad-libbing. It's just like, they are reading the script. And then this happened. And then this happened. No thoughts.
Yep. And then...
Oh, but anyway, yeah, sorry.
Well, this whole revelation that Luli's been basically selling souls for years.
Yeah.
And Kadir just doesn't clue her in on that.
And like this was like a kind of an interesting part because Luli's fucked up about this, obviously, because she's like, selling all these relics and hunting them across the desert. And each of the relics has a Jinn soul inside of it. That's their way of living on into the next world. And obviously she's like fucked up about it. But Kadir is like, well, no, I mean, I'd rather, all of these souls continue to be helpful to people instead of just being lost in the desert.
Which is a really cool point.
Yeah, but it just is glossed over. Like, I think it's like those two lines, like she's like, that's fucked up. And he's like, well, no, I'd rather them be used than lost. And then that's it. No further discussion, no further elaboration.
Headbutting of cultures there.
Yeah.
That could have been completely explored.
Yeah. And like even have like lasting repercussions throughout the rest of the book where like she's like really emotionally taxed by what she's been doing, but they just kind of like gloss over it.
Yeah.
Another tangent. Anyway, the ghouls.
The ghouls. So if we didn't have enough action in part 1 and 2.
Oh God, even more action.
They get suspicious on their little desert journey when some ghouls are following them from a distance. But, they dismiss it because nothing bad ever happens to this traveling party.
That was a confusing part because, like, I guess you can see or you, like, know that ghouls are around if, like, the desert all of a sudden gets, like, freaky quiet. And so they have this point where they, like, pack everything up and then they're like, oh my God, there's, like, ghouls over there. And it's like, are there just traveling bands of ghouls
Apparently,
in this desert?
that's the norm.
Like, not even phased? Like, I would be a little bit concerned.
It was, like, this huge red flag that they were trying to wave at the party, and they're like, no, no big deal.
Okay, we're just gonna pack up and leave. Everybody be real quiet, and then we'll get away.
So I think they stumble. They keep moving on. And they might have stumbled upon like a village or like a traveling.
Oh yeah, it's like a group of Bedouin travelers. Mm-hmm.
They take shelter there, and then they start to hear rumblings and gossip from these people about, quote, the hunter in black, who's unbelievably successful in hunting jinn because he supposedly uses very fancy traps. Pay attention to that. Fancy traps. And then this dude, this hunter in black, that's a key because Luli's tribe was murdered by an individual matching that description.
So I had multiple thoughts on this.
When do you not?
I know, I'm sorry. So I was confused when they first started talking about the hunter in black because like they just dropped him in halfway through and I'm like, okay, who's this guy? Like,
well, I don't know about you, but it sounded to me like it was a group of
That's
hunters.
what I thought. Okay, literally.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I feel better now.
I thought I was having like an aneurysm. I'm like, now it just turned into one hunter in black. But I thought it was a group. So then they started talking about this one particular and I was like, finally, like this is going to be our romantic interest. And he like had to kill his family.
I thought that too.
Thank you.
Like, a hunter in black.
Here it is.
Yep. Nope.
Nope, he's just a creepy guy.
Another villain.
Yeah. And then also like when did he get super good at making these traps?
How?
Yeah, because also like, well, maybe I'm spoiling it, but you're about to find out in, 10 to 15 minutes. But this guy used to be one of the Sultan's 40 thieves and he's, like now a rogue or whatever. But like when did he figure out this skill? Because
it's a significant skill because as we learn right about now, so another battle commences. And Kadir typically rushes in to save the day, except guess what? A gigantic hole opens up in the middle of the sand and both he and his horse fall in and they're ripped to shreds by a bunch of iron blades stuck through the sides of this hole. Yeah. Sounds like a trap, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Kadir and the pony dies. Kadir is dead.
Yeah.
Pony is dead.
In the very haphazard way we say that, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of sad because he was kind of one of the only interesting characters and then
I was also excited because I thought, oh, maybe this means we're going to meet the actual character that is supposed to provide more depth to this whole story.
No.
Instead, Lily just has a meltdown.
Yep. And then we get the hunter in black.
Yeah, the hunter in black appears and Aisha knows this dude.
Red flag.
Yep. This is Imad?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say it?
I thought it was like Ahmad.
Ahmad, yeah, that's
Ahmad, or
you're right.
It depends on like what letter that is, but
formerly, like you said, one of the 40 thieves under the Sultan, not under Omar, and he was banished under mysterious circumstances.
Which again makes me wonder because if Omar is all about killing all these motherfucking jinn, why would he get rid of the one guy who's like evidently really good at it? I got questions.
Yeah, and Ahmad has got. Oh, I think I've messed that up again. Imad?
We can say Imad. Yeah, that makes sense.
Imed? Imed.
Probably Imed.
Imed.
Yeah.
Imed has got a huge problem with the High Prince.
Big beef.
Yeah.
All kinds of like emotional turmoil.
Wants to murder this asshole.
Murder.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mazen, Aisha, and Luli are all taken captive and thrown into Imad's sand fortress. I wasn't sure what this place was.
Yeah.
I, again, skimmed this, so the description was probably very long, and I didn't care enough to...
Yeah, it kind of felt like ruins in the middle of some like freaky
They did say ruins
kind of thing
later.
Yeah, but
it's an evil lair.
Yeah, evil lair.
Yep. It kind of reminded me of that moment in part 1 and 2, well, maybe 1 or 2, in that underground palace with the Queen of the Dunes.
Oh,
how it was super confusing.
Mm-hmm. That's the vibe I got too, because it's the like layout is confusing, because like all of a sudden they go from one room and then they have some like mental thing and go into another room, which like if that's what it is, where it's like not even not metaphysical, but it's not even real,
Yeah.
but then half of it's not real.
That's what I wasn't certain. Like, is this real? Is it not real? We got ghouls. We have a real hunter. What's going on?
Yeah. And so it's fine, but confusing.
The three are separated, though.
Yes.
Aisha gets the living shit beaten out of her.
Oh, yeah. Girl got fucked up.
Awful. Because he also... Imad.
It's like,
Imad has also got a huge problem with her too, because she's loyal to Omar and he hates Omar. Mazen is kind of taken off to some sort of prison and thrown in the dungeon. Nothing truly bad happens to him.
Yeah.
Imad is hoping to keep him hostage to lure Omar into rescuing him.
Yeah, I think he says something about like a ransom.
Yeah.
But why does he need money?
I don't know. It's
Anyways.
it's weird. This weird side plot.
Yeah.
Luli is also interrogated, and because Imad is hunting for some fancy Jin King relic thing.
Yeah, I was always the whole time reading this like 6 or 8 chapters, I was confused what he was looking for.
Like what's the point of...
And I think he was confused too.
So Luli's scene is particularly gruesome.
Yeah.
Imad put a collar around her neck that causes immense pain whenever she starts to speak. Like he's interrogated her, he's not getting anything out of her, so he puts this collar on her, and then...
Which would do the opposite of what you want.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then and then pay attention to this part.
Yeah.
Then he has his ghouls flip her onto her stomach.
Yeah.
And having read similar scenes,
yes,
Katie and I both kind of took this to mean that this was going down a very dark path.
Yep.
But instead, he does this so he can cut her ankles.
We talked about this earlier, but I was so confused by this because it almost felt like it was leading up to what we assumed it was, which I hate because this book has a lot of plot devices and I didn't want that crime to be another plot device. And it almost felt like the editor went through and she's like, "Ooh, not gonna have that in there," and then cut it out, and then they moved it to like ankle cutting, because I have never heard of ankle cutting like in a book before.
Not in a book. I've heard of it as a thing, right? Because you can like completely cripple someone for life doing that.
The whole like Achilles heel thing. Yeah. So, but it could be some kind of like torture device common in like the Middle East maybe, and that's why it was like obvious that's where it was going. But I immediately, like, he flipped around to her stomach and I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know that I could handle this.
If that had actually happened,
I would have stopped.
I would not have finished this book.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to say that there's a place for that in certain books.
But there is. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, when it's about like the emotional trauma of that and like overcoming that as an experience and like the emotional journey of that, but not when it's a plot device.
No.
Not when it's like some kind of threat made against the person. Like, we get enough of that in real life. Like, don't.
This entire book is driven just by action, not by in like internal character development.
Yeah.
And as just another action to happen to the characters, it's just too much.
Yeah. Because it would probably be meant to be like an emotional scene, but it's like, no, that just feels like some kind of fucked up plot device. Like, did anyone learn anything from that or feel any kind of way about it except, like overwhelming disgust, but then it's probably never going to be addressed again later. Like, yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Ankle cutting.
So if it was always meant to be ankle cutting, beautiful.
Yep.
If a nice editor caught that and changed it, also thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Imad, I feel like I'm just messing up that name every time. It's going to bug me. So he has taken possession of Luli's bag of infinite space, and he's also found Mazin's bangle, the one that turns him into Omar. And he's been playing with the bangle. Like, who wouldn't play with this bangle?
They're like, oh, I'm Omar. Oh, now I'm a regular guy. Oh, now I'm Omar again.
Imad is hella old.
Yeah.
So
he's not a potential like romantic interest that's gonna have some kind of like overarching, plot from evil to good. Like, no, he's like a creepy old guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mazin makes use of his handy dandy shadow and escapes from prison. So again, right, here's another jarring aspect of this book is the perspective switches.
Yeah. Huge
scene with Luli and Imad.
Yeah.
And
then all of a sudden it's like, whoop. Back to
Mazin's playing with his shadow because he's a dumbass. But Mazin goes to rescue Aisha, the entire time admitting that he's like full coward mode. Like, I'm scared. I'm a coward. I'm just gonna go rescue. We don't care, dude. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
And then together they go and try to rescue Luli,
which was wild too, because this whole part, like, so he has to fight like ghouls to get out of this prison. Which, like, okay, good. Imad actually has like sentries set up. Like, thank you for not making this too easy for our protagonists or whatever. But like all of a sudden, like Mazin developed some kind of like fighting ability because like he didn't get fucked up by any of these ghouls. And I know he's like coming at them from surprise, but like you're telling me a pacifist who has never had any kind of like sword training in his life is like all of a sudden dispatching all of these.
And he's scared.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like admitting to himself that he's a coward. It's like, you just did this. Like, no problems.
Yeah. Again, plot device. They somehow manage to get to Luli and they fight with bad guy.
Yes.
I'm calling him bad guy from now on. With the help of Kadir's magical dagger, which somehow starts to talk. The dagger is talking to Mazin again.
Even though Kadir is dead.
In a voice that he kind of recognizes. And then Aisha is sworn by ghouls and murdered.
Yeah, they just kind of glossed over that. Yep. And it could be because I was skimming, so it felt like it was glossed over because I glossed over it. But
if you're glossing over a podcast, let's emphasize Aisha is dead.
Again, she killed the second most interesting character.
Kadir is dead. Then the Sand Sea just swallows the entire evil lair fortress ruin thing, and bad guy is gone.
Yep. But our Lily and Mazin are okay.
Yeah.
Aisha's dead, Kadir's dead, but somehow coming back in the sword, and then Mazin and Lily are like, what the fuck? And then the fortress is gone, Imad is dead.
I wonder who could have done that. Luli comes to with the prince in this weird sand hidey hole thing. Like, again, I'm confused. I don't know exactly where they're at. It sounds like this burning sand hole that they escaped to.
Yeah.
And this, speaking of burning presence takes over the area, and she feels this collar around her neck heat up and shatter.
Oh.
I know. This is actually kind of a cool scene. I enjoyed it. Then this phantom of a man appears with strange but familiar tattoos and markings, and he picks her up. See previous, like, ankle injury thing.
Yeah.
And guess who it is?
Who is it?
Kadir.
Interesting.
Kadir's back.
So he got killed off again for one of the action scenes, and then all of a sudden he came back. This man has not been actually like physically present for any action scene in this whole book.
Nope.
And at this point, we're like 60% through.
But he manages to help save everyone.
Every single time.
Every time. The three of them continue to start to make their escape. Continue to start. That's how we're rolling. Until bad guy appears again with a revelation for Luli. He accuses Kadir of, quote, being the one we were looking for, and, quote, it wasn't the compass at all.
I was so fucking confused by this. Because, what?
Did you short circuit, Katie?
I can't even like formulate a thought. Because at first I was like, so why did Imad kill Luli's whole family if he was looking for Kadir to like the whole time? Because Kadir was like following Luli, but it was only like after Like that time frame is very hazy in my mind. So it's like did all of that all happen at the same time? Which like, sure, it could have been. But then also like, you're telling me Ahmad for the past what? Because Mazin's like 20 years old. So Ahmad for the past 20 years has not figured out that he is searching for a djinn, not a compass. Even though he knows how to set up the most like magically fantastic traps to somehow have like created this whole persona for himself.
It just makes zero sense. Again, like at this point, I was eye rolling because another bad guy, another subplot. Yeah. It's just like, remember our overarching quest here is them going to get the lamp with the Jinn King in it for the Sultan. Yeah.
Like I forgot that was even the point.
The main driver of this story, and we've taken so many detours between Ahmed and the Queen of the Dunes, and then this dude.
But no character development.
No character. We're so mad about the character development or lack thereof.
Yep.
Kadir cuts bad guy off and says to Lily, like, you should just kill this guy, right? Because this is the dude that murdered your family. She agrees. She can't walk, so she just crawls forward and stabs this dude to death repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was violent. Seemed weird.
But I also skipped past it. Yeah. Like, I didn't even... I didn't know she killed Ahmad again.
This should have been such a huge part of the story because... Yeah, it's what's shaping Luli as a character is the death of her tribe and her parents. Mm-hmm. And she gets the chance to murder the dude who murdered them, and like she's just like, okay, I'll do it. Thanks, Kadir.
And then that's it.
Yeah, that's
like
it.
No kind of like emotional blowback from because now like what does she do? Like what is her reason to be? Whatever that French like raison d'être or whatever it is. But like she just did it. Now what?
She has no more purpose. She can just quit this quest. We can quit the book. We're done.
Yeah, but it continues.
It continues for so many more pages. I think there's 100-something plus pages left at this point.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cut to Aisha, though. Thank God for multiple perspectives. So the dead Aisha.
Yeah, but we're going to cut to her.
Yeah. Basically, she has the circlet. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't remember when she got the circlet, but she has it.
Don't know either because I feel like the Queen of the Dunes just like appeared to her.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did that happen?
Yeah. Queen of the Dunes appears and offers to save her life in exchange for her heart, one eye, and sharing her body. But Aisha still gets to retain her free will.
I also don't understand. So like, why was the Queen of Dunes negotiating? Because like I read through their dialogue and even Aisha's like, why
are you talking to me, dude?
Yeah, like I want to be in control of my body, and the Queen of the Dunes is like, yeah, this isn't a possession, this is a deal. And it's like, why? Like,
well, maybe she didn't have the circlet then. Maybe that's the only way she can take control of her body. That would make more sense.
Yeah, and then like gave it to her when they like had their deal or something. I could see that, but it was just one of those like, why did the Queen of the Dunes have like a character 180 all of a sudden?
It's weird.
Yeah, with no explanation. Yeah, but okay. They met back up.
Yeah, they met back up. So Aisha joins back up with Mazen, Kadir, and Luli, and they'll powwow. And it's Kadir time with a little help from Aisha because Aisha now has a Jinn queen in her head.
Yeah, there's some explaining to do.
Yeah. And the explaining goes something like Kadir is an Ifrit himself.
So one of the Jinn kings.
Yeah, like the...
There's like 7
There's
of them?
7, and he's the Inferno one, like Flaming Blade and all of that. He happens to know all the other Ifrits, but doesn't give much background on himself at this time. Just that he committed some kind of crime and he can't return to his Jinn home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge revelation.
Yeah, but I felt totally unemotional about it.
So I didn't catch this on my first read through last night. I actually saw it this morning when I was going back. He and Aisha Jinn. Can we just call her that? Aisha Jinn?
Aisha Jinn.
Yep. They go through it and explain the alternative world history.
This is again something that could be fun, but it was delivered so unemotionally that I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, first,
cool.
In this world, and if from part 1, we kind of go over that the jinns pissed off the gods because they wanted all this power, and so the gods banished them under the Sand Sea, and the humans kind of took over. Not the case, apparently.
Right.
First, there were jinn on the planet, and then the humans came. The Jinn King welcomed the humans, but then the humans realized that jinn blood could heal and jinn relics could be powerful tools. So they got some iron weapons and started killing all the Jinn. And the Jinn couldn't win because there were so many humans because we breed like rabbits. And so they, contrary to the king, I think, they sink the entire kingdom.
Oh, because the Jinn King is like, no, like we can't do that. And then they're like,
we're going to do it anyway. We want to live.
Yeah.
And so they not banished, but they protected themselves by sinking their entire country underneath the Sand Sea.
Mm-hmm.
They also realized that the Jinn King and the Sultan's story, remember
A Mirror in the Lamp.
Yeah, A Mirror in the Lamp is not the capital T Jinn King, but it's like their buddy who's the shapeshifter dude, who, according to the description, is a bit of a cocky bastard, and the most likely of the Ifrit to like make an ego-fueled deal with a human.
Right.
Oh, also, I put this in a little bit later, but this particular Jinn Ifrit King is a they.
Oh, yeah. I did like this part.
Yeah.
A little like non-binary, new age tidbit thrown in.
But it makes sense. It doesn't seem like a token character because it's a shapeshifter, so they can be anything or any gender that they want to be.
Yeah. It makes sense that they too feel a little bit confused about what they are.
not that you need to be a shapeshifter to pick your gender, but like
if anyone was a little confused about, little gender dysphoria, it'd probably be someone that has like no distinct figure.
Anyway, nice addition to the story. At this point, Luli puts a couple pieces together and realizes that Kadir was wandering the desert looking for the compass relic, which her parents possessed. And Ahmad and team were on orders of the Sultan, were out looking for Kadir, which led them to her tribe. So she sinks into this depressed funk and doesn't speak to anyone, but especially Kadir for a while. Again, like, this is supposed to be super emotional. Like, she realizes the entire reason her parents and tribe are dead are because Kadir was tracking them.
Yeah, who is now all of a sudden protecting her for the past however many years.
Guilt trip much?
Unfortunate coincidence. But again, I feel no sort of anything about any
don't
of
care.
it.
Don't care at all.
Like, okay, I'm sorry, hun, but now what?
Yeah. They set off to travel again. This is a pattern. Like, big action, lots of fighting, introduce new characters, and then they travel.
Yep.
The travel is like the pause in between each of the major events. And the travel doesn't even take that long.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of filler scenes in here. But in short, the team is broke. So they hatch up a plan to set Mazen up. So they travel, they make it to a new city. I forgot to put that out there. Can you pronounce it for me?
Gabon.
Gabon.
Probably like one of those like Gabon. I can never make that noise, but Gabon.
The Goths are weird.
Yeah. See, we know things sometimes.
Maybe. So they make it to Gabon, and they set Mazen up in the marketplace to tell stories for tips. And they use a little jinn magic, courtesy of Kadir, to kind of spiffy up his stories.
So again, so none of these characters really have their own like personalities or anything that like makes them like endearing, And I feel like storytelling was supposed to be Mazen's, and but they cut him off. So like the first time he goes into like storytelling mode, which should be the point when like people kind of get like enamored with him. They like watch how, his eyes light up and he, gets a funny voice that like everybody's like, oh my God, like he's really into this. And it should be the moment that we're like, oh my God, we love Mazen. But like the first time he gets cut off because they move it into the like parchment paper third person perspective, and then the second time that he's supposed to tell a story, they just like cut him off and it's like, oh, he told a story, and then anyway the plot. And it's like, no, these little tidbits are where you like make your money when it comes to like making people care about your characters.
It would be hard to make anyone care about Mazen at this point in the story.
But I mean, it's like you had it all lined up. Like this was one of those fucking T-balls.
We're 300 and something pages into the story at this point, and we still don't care about Mazen. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah. Except in a very like oblique kind of way. And yeah, this was your point. You could have talked about the stars in his eyes and has this dreamy voice and, you know.
I would have loved to have seen another brief character perspective, like maybe some bystander who stops to listen to the story.
Yeah.
And gets to view Mazin not through Luli or Aisha's eyes.
Yeah, because that would do something for me. Be like, okay, so he's one of these people that like you don't appreciate it because he's, you know, soft or like weaker, but then you get this moment where it's like, oh, like he's a dreamer or whatever.
Good storytellers have that
power.
charisma.
Yeah. But we just skip past it.
While Mazin is doing his storyteller bit, Aisha wanders off to meet a member of the 40 Thieves who's like a resident of the city, like the designated thief Jinn hunter here.
Yeah.
So he can carry a message back to Omar about the status of the quest. So that's another thing. We're not going to go into detail about that.
But again, this was like a whole chapter set aside for this, you know, Aisha adventure. And it could have been one of those points where this extra character, I forgot his name, but that could have been a moment where we like get to buy into Aisha's character. But again, like we don't learn anything new. It felt like a scene that needed to be written, but you're like, okay.
It was completely pointless. For me.
Like,
yeah. They later on. So there's a lot going on in this section, but it just doesn't affect the plot at all. Yeah. So later on, they stumble upon some wanted photos of Mazin, those old school wanted pictures,
like the Old West
Old
cowboys.
West is what I was thinking. And he's been accused of murdering the Sultan. I wonder, is this all part of Omar's grand plan with the bangle switch?
I could not have seen that coming.
No,
this is so surprising.
No, Omar is a bad guy.
Wow.
Mazin has a breakdown, realizing his brother really is an asshole and his dad is dead.
But again, this is one of those points, like, you did not give me any redeeming scenes of Omar. Like, he maybe had some with Aisha where I'm like, oh, okay, like, maybe we got, like, something going on here. But, like, not fulfilled enough for me to even care about this. It's like, Mazin, like, you're telling me you did not know your brother was an asshole when he's been acting like an asshole for the past 20 years?
Or any
like, sir.
Or any bonding scenes with dad.
Yeah.
Like dad murdered all his wives. Like,
yeah.
Give some of us redeeming qualities here.
Exactly. And the dad was like an asshole in all the scenes with Mazin. Like, Mazin's like, oh, like, Dad, I love you, but you're like kind of being a dick right now. And it's like, I, as the reader, have only seen these dick scenes. So, but not the fun kind. None of the fun kind.
Okay, to recap, circle dirt, dick scenes, and more meat.
Akko.
We have a theme here.
Yep. Maybe it's just because there was no smut in this.
We were missing a little bit of that.
Yeah. But I don't even need that. Let me caveat that. I don't need that to enjoy a book.
Evidence A, crown duel.
Yeah, there's no smut in that, but you feel all kind of feels when the characters talk. But this one, I'm like, oh my God, they're talking again. Like,
it's so boring.
Let's just skip past these pages. Yep. Anyways.
Kadir goes into town to gather more news while they all hunker down in hiding because, Mazin's a wanted dude. And they learn that Hakim, the good middle brother, escaped with the help of, guess who? Ahmad, who was cut down defending him. Again, I don't give a fuck about Ahmed anymore.
Again, like, totally indifferent.
Okay, great. He had this awesome story arc where Luli wasn't sure how she felt about him. And, oh, wait, he's actually a good dude who was suspicious of Omar the entire time.
Yeah.
For like years. And he saved the middle brother and got cut down in the process.
Cool.
Yeah, great side.
Like, sorry,
sidebar
Luli,
there.
but I don't care.
Yeah.
That just tells you how, because I'm one of those people that I will latch on to any character and hopefully see the good in them and like hope all kinds of like happiness upon themselves and their family. But like, I was so fucking indifferent. Like, Ahmed had no like redeeming, like he just seemed superficial the whole time.
He was uninteresting.
So it's like, why should I love him? You got to convince me, girl.
They managed to escape the town and back to our main quest. It's like we're playing a video game with like a bunch of side quests and we forget the whole point of the game.
Yeah. Yes. But not the fun kind of side quest where
no.
you're like, this is the point of the game, is the side quest.
It's the side quest with the bosses that are just a pain in the ass to beat that make you quit the game. Like, side quest, this boss sucks, I can't beat him. I'm just gonna quit for 3 months.
Or you get like irritated because they're like, okay, like I know they're going to survive. Like, let's just cut it down. But fuck, there's another one. Like, oh my God, okay. I just want to do the actual quest, but you keep throwing these like lame ass bosses at me. Like,
but Katie, are there any bosses in Stardew Valley?
No. Okay, we're gonna get into this because like obviously the book is like kind of annoying me. Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing are like my comfort games. I just zone out when I've had a hard day at work and I just like farm my little crops and I like take care of my little chickens and I talk to my little animal friends. If you're a Stardew Valley Animal Crossing person, like you get it. It's all about the comfy, cozy vibes.
I tried. This is where Katie and I diverged significantly.
Yes.
I'm more of I don't know. I like the sim games, like
Oh, those are fun. Yeah.
the like city builders and like one like Civilization. There's another one, Origins.
Yeah, it's like Civilization 5. I always see
Yeah.
like commercials for it and stuff.
I like the nerd games.
That's fair, girl. We're all, yeah.
But also Assassin's Creed. If you haven't played it,
That's a fun one.
yeah.
Yeah. I kind of got a little bit of Assassin.
On this one,
Yeah, like one of the OG ones, like 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah, way
is
back.
All like the Crusades or something.
Oh
Like
my
right before.
goodness! So you might have been too young, and I'm going to reveal my age here. So Prince of Persia: Sands of Time for the Nintendo GameCube. Which is
Oh,
a
I
thing.
thought you were going to talk about the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, well the movie was awful, but
Yeah, it
based on the
was.
video game.
Oh, that's a fun switch.
Don't watch the movie; just play the game. I think they remastered it, like you can play it on Steam.
Oh,
It's really bad. Like it was built up in my mind as this amazing video game, but it's the
that's
graphics.
always so sad when
I
you like
know.
go back and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Anyway, Stardew Valley and Prince of Persia.
Yep. That's the synopsis of this
We
episode.
would rather be doing both of those things than reading this book.
I did play Stardew Valley in between chapters.
Shame on you.
I'm like, I'll play one day on the game and then read one chapter.
I did attempt Stardew Valley. It's just a little slow for me.
That's fair. I just need soothing games that are very like non-conflict.
That matches our exercise routines as well.
Yeah, that is very true. If you Peloton, Allie Love is my girl.
And I like Tunde.
She likes to suffer.
I want to hate myself a little bit, but I want
Yep.
someone to smile at me while I'm doing
That's fair. I just want to be happy and non-confrontational and be told that I'm good.
it. And we've clearly established ourselves as very basic because we Peloton and play Animal Crossing. So,
If you're listening to this podcast, you already know.
yeah. So thanks for staying tuned.
As you can tell, the alcohol is starting to hit.
Just a little bit.
We have half a page left of our notes, though.
We can
will
power,
get through
we
this.
can power through this. Back to our 3 protagonists. They escape the town to continue hunting for the lamp.
Well, but why are they? You know what? I'm going to stop myself.
I don't know why
Keep going.
I don't know why they're hunting for the lamp still, because the Sultan is dead. Obviously, Omar is in
Yeah.
charge.
Like, they have no.
Maybe this was a
Girl,
part
pull it together.
we skimmed over and we just don't know and we don't care, so it's fine. The compass, the magical compass, right,
Yes.
leads them straight to it, and it's buried in another palace of some kind. I was
Buried.
also confused. Buried.
Sorry.
Buried.
Buried.
Stop it.
I have to take my chances when I can.
Oh, man.
Anyway,
Uh,
buried.
I'm going to be super self-conscious of myself now.
Oh, no, please don't. It's because I always fuck up words.
It's too late between Imad and buried.
Imad buried, the
and
buried.
and all of the other words that we keep finding.
I know. I'm so sorry.
No. It's half the fun of this.
That is true.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure some of our friends who are listening are also enjoying us stumbling over several words.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. They are hunting for the lamp. They find the lamp. Mazen rubs the lamp. Nothing happens.
Akko.
That's weird. Kadir gets distracted by this illusion of what was probably his dead girlfriend. This is the dead girlfriend whose soul controls the compass.
Kalela.
Yes, that's right.
Which, what a pretty name.
I
I'm
know.
obsessed. Kalela.
That's very pretty.
Love it. I'm probably like saying it wrong or something, but Kalela. Yeah, because Kalila.
Oh, because the male version is
Yeah,
Khalil. Yeah.
Kalila. Okay,
Yeah.
but still pretty. It reminds me of like a flower of some sort. Anyways.
Anyway, Kadir, who saves the day all the time, is distracted, and then some iron-tipped arrows get shot at the group. More battling. It's great.
Oh, great.
Aisha charges in and starts fighting the new enemy so they can escape. It's Omar and company, by the way.
Uh-oh.
They've appeared to also get the lamp. We're at the home stretch here. Just bear with us. We're powering through. Mazen realizes he can command the jinn from the lamp that's not working, by the way, because he shares the same blood as Amir. So he
relatives.
Yeah. Amir and the lamp. Remember that story? So he cuts his palm open and presses it to the lamp, dramatically announcing that Rija, is that the right name?
I think so, Rija.
I did it this time.
Or gender fluid, non-binary, transfiguration dude.
Yeah, so they learned
person.
Rija,
I mean, dude is,
yeah.
everyone's a dude.
Rija got his they learned Rija's backstory and his name from Kadir.
Yes.
So Mazin being Mazin, it's like, Rija, you are mine to command. And Rizan's like, nah, fuck you, bitch.
Bye.
I really did enjoy that scene because Rija's like, nah, I don't got to listen to you. And then
I'm good.
agrees to help them. Rija agrees to help them for Kadir. Kadir's like, hey, buddy, like, for me, please, since they're both like Ifrit.
I love that dude and buddy are also non-binary terms. Like,
Finally,
everyone is dude and buddy.
the amount of times, and bro also.
Yeah, bro too. Bro is not man only.
Not
use.
anymore.
Everyone's a bro. Especially if you're like saying it passive aggressively. Like, bro.
What the fuck are you thinking right now?
Yep, everybody's a bro. Anyway,
Omar and gang catch up to them. And now it's family history time.
Akko, is this where they reveal all of their like internal secrets that could have been littered throughout the book and would make the middle slog a little bit easier to get through and then wouldn't have made the last couple like
Katie,
chapters?
Not at all. Omar's mom was a djinn. This was kind of left field for me.
Because you get little like tidbits of it because like Omar like pops out of places and Mazin kind of observes like, whoa, that's like kind of weird, but then thinks nothing more of it. But also like, you gotta tell me why. Like maybe give me like a flashback of like Omar's mom and the Sultan like falling in love because like why would the Sultan just like be
We got zero backstory on Omar's mom and the Sultan prior to this point.
Yeah. It's like, give me a little bit of a love story since you're not going to give me anything like throughout this whole book. Like I'm parched. Yeah.
And Omar, by the way, we haven't mentioned it before in this episode. Omar has black blood, which Mazin discovered when he was
Omar.
Yeah, when he was wearing the bangle.
And they kind of like blew it off. They're like, oh, it's probably just some like weird side effect from being around all these relics. And it's like, that doesn't even make sense, but okay, sure.
Yeah. The Sultan killed Omar's mom because he didn't know she was a djinn. He found out, no, you're a djinn, you're evil. Okay, I killed her. So that's traumatic for a child.
But also, like, why would he continue to keep Omar around?
I don't know. Because he's half djinn. They haven't even talked about children born of jinn and humans.
Yeah.
That's an entirely different topic.
Because it should be that they can't, like, Omar shouldn't be able to have kids, right? Because, like, mules.
Oh, you're comparing our
well, I mean, I would assume it's the same with, like, humans mixing with other, like, species. But I don't know. We're getting into, like, biology territory, but... These are the side tangents I have to think of.
All of this could have been fleshed out, but Omar has his mom's relic, and that's the earring that he refused to give up.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's the one part of the disguise that Mazin probably needed to be convincing, and Ahmed immediately was like, hey, wait a second, where's your earring? And he's like, I don't know where my earring is. That's weird. Panic.
That was weird. And like, I get it was supposed to be this mystery buildup thing. Like, oh, why does he hyper-focus on this earring? Oh, well, yeah, it's because it's a relic.
Which is sad because I thought it was just some kind of like emotional attachment. Like that, I would have liked that more than it being a relic. It's like, oh, okay, so he doesn't have any feelings.
And then also, it's unclear how old they are, but Omar, in an act of revenge, kills Mazin's mom. That's Shafia.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Omar could have only been like 13.
Very young, because he's at least 2 to 4 years older than Mazin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's the family history. So Omar is the son of the Sultan and a jinn in hiding. The Sultan killed his mom, and for revenge, Omar planned this long game and killed Mazin's mom and then killed the Sultan and blamed it all on Mazin.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Again, unimpacted.
Yep, don't care. Kadir comes up with this plan. So family history aside, they're all facing Omar and gang. It looks pretty dark for them because, Mazin is this wanted dude for the entire country, like, because he killed the Sultan, supposedly. And Omar is now the Sultan. So Kadir tells Luli to trust him, and then he asks Rija to take care of them. Rija turns into a gigantic bird, and then she and Mazin get to go on a plane ride. Woo woo. Yep. They briefly considered taking Aisha with them, but Aisha now has a ghoul army and is pretty content to just stay behind and continue being a badass. So
She is just vibing.
yeah, she's like, oh, I was meant to like partner with this Jinn Queen, which just shout out to Katie for calling that early on in like part 2.
I did. I don't know if we recorded it, but that's what I thought. I thought Aisha was going to have some like liberation moment where she's like, I don't need anyone. I'm going to be some badass motherfucker and just like do what I want. And even the Queen of the Dunes was like, because we talked about this a second ago, like, why was she okay with making a deal with Aisha instead of just possessing her? But I just thought it was funny that Aisha's like, anyways, I'm the Queen of the Dunes, and I'm going to fuck this up.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. Like, fine. Like, that's one story arc I was okay with.
Yeah. If you just like sprinkled in a little bit of like emotional depth, I would have been immediately
It
like,
would have been so much.
oh yeah, sold for Aisha.
Rija, as a bird, dives into a sandhole out of nowhere.
Another one.
Yeah, I think Kadir opens this one. And then Luli and Mazin realize they're on the way to the city of the Jinn, leaving Kadir behind.
Again.
Yeah. Big dramatic reveal at this point, okay? This is like page 459. Like
out of 460 or something.
Yeah. Upon arriving, Luli, with the help of a sassy Rija, realizes that, oh shit, Kadir isn't just the Inferno Ifrit. He is the all caps big baddie king of the Ifrits. He's the king of the Jinn. He's the king that welcomed the humans. Uh-oh. End of book 1. Where's book 2?
Yeah. Because that's where I was confused, because like if he was the like big king, so the one that was like, oh, the humans aren't that bad, like I don't want you to sink the sand sea, like why was he okay with the Queen of the Dunes like coming back and they didn't have some kind of like weird beef? Because that would have meant the Queen of the Dunes.
I don't know.
I'm squinting, if you guys were wondering.
She's squinting hard at me. I'm a little intimidated.
What?
Yeah. But that's it. That's the end of the book. There's a lot going on, and that
was a trip. But anyways, we are going to go in depth on what we thought would have made this book better in our Q&A episode.
Well, okay,
and some fun little like other like tangents.
So I hesitate to say better because
that's fair.
Because it's not terrible. Like, we've both read terrible books. The writing is good. The plot, like the ideas in this book are really fun. The setting is
cool. Amazing. Yeah. But there was no emotional depth. Like, I didn't feel connected to any of the characters really throughout the whole book. So it made it hard to read through, even though these like exciting, amazing things were happening in these exciting, amazing places. And there was like all this lore that I was very interested in, but there's no like buy-in.
No, and it felt like this was 3 books compacted into one. And the fact that there is 2 more books to follow, I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
I would be okay reading the second book if like it was just dialogue between characters, emotional, like understanding, like Luli coming to terms with the fact that now she doesn't really have anything to focus on now that she's like avenged her family, like, and there's the blowback of that.
We didn't even touch on this, but the undercurrent now between Luli and Kadir. Yeah. There are some scenes, there's nothing outright that would make you say, oh, there's a romantic angle here between these 2 characters. But the way he swoops in and saves her and carries her when her ankles are cut, and then, oh, trust me, Luli, like it's just little.
Did we talk about that? I think in episode, what was that? It would have been episode 6. But I wrote it on a little sticky note, and it might have been that we talked about it before we started recording. But I literally wrote down like some of these scenes feel a little bit more than platonic. Like, I know that.
Oh, you did. I remember that.
Yeah. Like, because they did. There was a couple moments where like everything was set up the way that romance scenes are, where it's like this kind of like very like vulnerable, emotional, like actions being taken. But like we're told that it's strictly platonic, but it's like, I don't know, because like all of the actions are saying otherwise.
Yeah. Maybe we should reserve that for.
Yeah, the Q&A. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, way ahead.
But still, it was a ride.
So much so. With that,
yes,
from our shelf to yours.
We'll see you on the next page. Hi, readers. If you'd like to help us pick our next book, send us a message on Instagram.
Or if you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday on Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Music. Thanks for listening.